Welcome to the show with no interference. Get all your NFL needs made by fans for the fans. We are your hosts, West Side, Big Sass, and the Bull. So here we go. Alrighty, welcome to the show. This is No Interference. We are your hosts, West Side and Big Sass and the Bull. We're just going to have another off-season sort of breakdown episode, give you all the news through the week, and we're going to talk about some hot topics that have been thrown around. So we're going to dive into it.
Let's go.
So OTAs going on. Some players report, some don't. It's not mandatory, so you don't have to, but of course everyone talks about it, and if a big name doesn't show up, it's breaking news. So what are your guys' thoughts regarding the OTAs?
I'm kind of on the fence. I feel like it depends situations and I guess kind of what the situation of the team or the state of the team is and the situation of a player if they don't show up. I would say it's extra time to get used to, let's say you're a new team with not a new team, but you have a new coaching staff or a new head coach, or which would be a new coaching staff or a lot of new players. I would think OTAs is more important.
I agree.
Especially from a quarterback's perspective.
New quarterback comes
You want to know the scheme, you want to know the plays, you want to know how your coaches operate. You want to get timing if you get new receivers, if you have new offensive linemen, you want to see how they move around. Same goes for defense, I'm sure. Now you have these veteran players who I feel like have always gotten leeway. I wish I had like a history list of players not showing up to OTAs and what their status is in the NFL, whether they're veterans or Hall of Fame type players that have that luxury. So I feel like it's important, but I feel like it depends on the situation.
Yeah, I look at it like you says, it's extra time. Any amount of time I feel like you can get to better yourself in this league is time you should take advantage of. At the end of the day, like obviously Patrick Mahomes might not need to show up to OTAs at this point, but there's other players out there that aren't at his level yet. He's won a Super Bowl, he's done it. Somebody like him, I wouldn't bat an eye at not showing up to OTAs, but I feel like it's in his character to show up anyway, and that says a lot about what kind of player you are at the end of the day too. I get taking practices off during the season, being a vet, gotta get some rest in. But I feel like if you want to be successful, you should go to every, especially when you said new players coming in. Sucks right now for Washington's case. Terry's not showing up because of his contract, but Carson Wentz has been there doing his thing. Brand new quarterback, new team. Try to build that bond with the wide receivers. It'd be nice if our best player was there too. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I mean that pretty much goes.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. I kind of agree with what you were saying, Trevor. It might vary on a team-to-team basis, but in a perfect world, yeah, you don't almost everyone there, but we get it. Like, excuse me, especially older veterans. Your body's healing still from the season. You probably don't feel like you need to be there. A lot of people use this as sometimes as like a bargaining chip, like for contract negotiations. Like this is the first almost like threat before you get to training camp and not show up there. But my one thought about it, and maybe like correlation for us normal people who don't make millions of dollars to play sports, if you work Monday through Friday and then your work was like, all right, on the next 2 weekends, Saturday and Sunday, we're going to do a non-mandatory 4-hour training. You don't have to show up, but we would like if you did. If you've been there for a few years and know what you're doing, you're probably not showing up. I wouldn't. But if you're a brand new hire, or someone doesn't feel great about the job, you're probably going to that little extra 4-day work experience. And for
especially for
me, it's kind
rookies.
of, yeah, for me, it's kind of like the same thing.
It's a good way to put it.
Now, just because it's the hot topic, and I actually need to check something. So Lamar Jackson isn't reporting for the Ravens OTAs, and I think he has said, "Hey guys, I'll be there for training camp or whatever." And he's been in the league 4 years now, so maybe he doesn't really need to be there so much. But I think we can all agree it's 100% because they're in the middle of these contract negotiations. Like, I feel like if it wasn't for these contract negotiations, he would be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can get behind, wanting to secure your future before you might get hurt out there doing OTAs or do something bad. But in Lamar's case, I personally think he should be showing up because he has some stuff to work on, and if he wants to get to that next level with his, with his passing game, he should be in any practice he could be at right now. But
And
he's a 4-year vet, like you said. He's been around, but he hasn't made it yet.
I yeah, I know injuries can happen to anyone, and I mean, just a regular, you could be doing the most basic route or whatever
Yeah,
position you're playing, you could hurt yourself even if you're not going full speed. But quarterbacks at OTAs, you kind of casually just dropping back. You got the red shirt on, you're not getting hit. And OTAs they don't even wear pads in OTAs, right?
I don't think so.
So
No,
helmets.
they
That's it.
can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so a quarterback, you're probably not going to get injured dropping back and throwing the ball, and if you do, you're probably going to get injured anyways at some
yeah.
point if you're that fragile. And then in Lamar's case, like you were just saying, RJ and Taylor, he's been in the league. He's an MVP, but he can improve on stuff. His accuracy isn't the best in the league.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, he's
exactly what
obviously
Lamar said.
athletic, but don't go out there and run. You don't need to work on your 40-yard dash or your ability to juke people out. You need to
Mhm.
work on your throwing down the field and your
Timing.
quick decisive timing. Yeah, and I mean, besides Mark Andrews, Hollywood's gone. They have the
Rashard Bateman.
second year receiver.
Bateman.
Bateman
Yeah, Bateman, and then did they draft anybody? I can't remember.
drafted 2 tight ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, he could use this time. It's extra time to get um, timing right with the rest of the team. So
Yeah, and I
it's just
mean,
a little odd to me. It's definitely to me. It's all from a leverage standpoint. From it's like Taylor said, it's the first warning for negotiations if they don't get it done. We'll see what his true intentions are in a couple weeks if they don't have a or whatever whenever training camp starts. If they don't have a deal done by then, he doesn't show up. Okay, then obviously this was all about the contract.
and
Mhm.
just to show that we're not picking on Lamar, I don't think Kyler Murray showed up either,
He's
and
somebody that I think should definitely show up.
he's in the same boat. He wants
Contract.
a contract extension. Um, I don't know.
Aaron Rodgers is the type of player who I think doesn't need to show up
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, Tom
because he's been
Brady.
around for what? Yeah, they've been around. They've been around for 15 years. They are who are they. They're not going to get better. They're already Hall of Fame status.
Did you see who did show up though? Matt Ryan with the Colts.
New team, new
New team,
coaching staff.
exactly. Doing it right.
He also, if he didn't show up, I wouldn't be like, he really needs to show up. But I'd be like, come on, you're a
Yeah,
new team. You probably
yeah.
should
You want
show
you
up.
want to get that bond. I feel like the bond between the receivers and quarterbacks is everything. The timing on when to cut on your routes and when to look for the ball, all that stuff, all comes in during these times.
You could argue that Aaron Rodgers should be there because he has, Devontae Adams is gone and stuff.
His
But I
whole new
mean,
receiving core. He could throw the
yeah, I
ball down.
mean,
He could throw a ball to a dry piece of toast and make him look good.
Here's my one.
yeah, and he thinks that. So
Here's my
Yep.
one thing in defense of Aaron Rodgers, because he's already came out and said that for him, he thinks getting his arm all warmed up for OTAs and then taking that time off and then getting his arm rewarmed up for training camp is not beneficial. Where he says he would rather not do OTAs and start warming up for training camp right into the season. And he said, in his experience, his arm feels better doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so at
never
least
thrown
at least
a
he
thousand throws in a day before, so I couldn't even imagine
so at
having to
least
do
he
that all
came
the
out and
time.
said that. I mean, so you're
If
like,
you're a
okay,
veteran quarterback like that and you come out and you're transparent like that, like why you're not showing up and it's for a different reason like that, I respect that.
Mhm.
But like beating around the bush, oh my
son of
god.
a.
But beating around the
Mhm,
bush
yeah.
like some of these players who are in contract negotiations, like I don't know. And then Lamar's like, I don't want to we don't want to
Sure.
pinpoint Lamar, but I mean, he's his own agent too, so it's kind of a different situation for him. But yeah, Kyler Murray should definitely show up.
He's
Um,
worried about that contract.
yeah.
Okay. I don't know. If I was a GM or whatever, your quarterback shows up to OTAs. You can chit chat, see better how they're feeling. But I don't know.
One more thought.
Yeah,
It's not that they have an obligation to be transparent with the fans and the media. Like they could, and I'm talking about any player, but they could be having conversations with the front office. So like they could be like, "Hey, I'm not coming to OTAs. I'd like a contract done before then." But what's the I don't know. Like if you don't like hasn't Lamar like tweeted back at people saying you don't know what you're talking about why I'm not at OTAs?
yeah.
Like just be transparent then and that's not going to happen. Like if you're just like I would like to have a contract done, I don't want to risk being on the field. People aren't going to be like, "Oh, you suck." Like
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
not
know.
wrong.
Yeah.
They're giving people the opportunity to speculate.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think we've put out our 2 cents regarding OTAs. Now we can get into some of the more interesting stories. So one of the topics that were out and about this past week during, I guess, 49ers OTAs, Javon Kinlaw, 49ers defensive tackle, got into it with one of their, I don't know, beat reporters or whatever you would call it. They got into a little argument. Kinlaw knocked off the reporter's hat, tweeted back at him. Then the reporter basically quoted his tweet and was like, "Oh, Javon Kinlaw is making threats to me." And then a bunch of 49ers players basically came out and were like, "Hey, this guy is always at our practices and training camps and whatnot." And they basically made it seem like he's always instigating players. Um, I guess I'll just keep going. I feel like every team has a reporter or two that's all they do. They have like nothing really good to say about the team, and they're just trying to get under players' skin. And I guess with the press, you have a right to cover whatever you want to cover, but I can't stand the reporters. Like the Titans have a couple guys like that, and I can't stand. I don't even follow them because I'm just like I don't want to see what they have to say.
Yeah.
This is a little off topic, but like I feel like being a beat reporter it's hard both ways because if you're a fan of the team, it'll be hard. You should be able to write non-biased like articles and reporting and stuff. That's obviously like the best kind of beat reporter, I would say. But it's got to suck covering a team. Sorry,
Smoke another one there,
covering a team you
Sasquatch.
don't like.
He's dying.
Yeah, what do y'all talk?
So
Yeah.
just so I can play both sides, I'm also saying as an adult, you should be able to keep your hands to yourself.
Yes.
Like I don't care
That's what I
how
was gonna
much the
say.
reporter got. I mean, I guess there's an extent, but for the most part, I don't care how much someone's getting under your skin, like talking to you, reporting you. If you're a grown man or an adult, like even if he just knocked his hat off, like if you, I don't know, if
That's
you like, I've
childish.
had people like knock my hat off, and it's
I hate when people
it's
knock my hat
annoying.
off.
Like I hate it.
Yeah, in general, and especially if they don't pick it up.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. I don't care if you're one of my best friends. Like, don't touch my hat. But like you said, they're both. I mean, and also same thing goes for Khan or Kuhn or whatever his name was, John Cohn. I have no idea how to say it.
Con,
Con.
I would say Cone. Either way, Grant
con.
Cohn. He's a grown man too, though, and they both need to act with like they're professionals. If they are, they're professionals, right? On both ends,
Yeah.
act like it. You don't have to get in this petty business with a player either. Say what you will if you think he's injury prone, okay, but like you said, If you're going to cover a team, don't just dig in all the time. It makes no sense to be a beat reporter if you're just going to hate on them.
Yeah, I agree.
They just got to both grow up a little bit, I think, at the end of the day.
True.
Some of these quotes from their conversation are kind of funny. I think in both this might be doubling up on one of you if one of you have already said this, but they just both look bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
It,
why waste your as a player? Like, I think it's good to have a relation. Like, you see players who stay on the same team for a long time. They kind of have a relationship with the reporters and stuff because it's the same people asking you questions.
uh-huh.
And some of them have good relationships. As a reporter, you would want that good relationship so you can get more information out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Have some
this guy,
insides.
no one's gonna want to talk to him after this. Not even from other teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
It's true
you're
though.
just doing yourself a disservice. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's just gonna have to stay on his little Skype calls or whatever he does and try to do interviews that way. I don't know.
Yeah, give me
But then,
Michael
like,
Rappaport vibes. He's just always fighting with players in the
yeah,
DMs.
yeah. But then this player, Kinlaw, if this guy can get under your skin, imagine what the players are going to do on the opposite teams now.
Good point.
They're probably going to be like, "Oh, if that
It's
was
a
easy
mental
to get,
game
if
out
I
there.
could get under his skin this way, I can do it way
Mm-hmm.
easier than that."
Somebody starts talking smack and messes him up the whole game. Who knows?
Or he
Yep.
gets mad and just starts throwing guards at the quarterback.
But that's how you should take it out.
I didn't get a chance to look at his stats.
He's been okay. Nothing like special. I think he out of South Carolina. He got drafted like 2 years ago. I think.
Is there any validity to 80-year-old knee?
I don't know. RJ told me that quote before we got on.
Have you read any of the quotes?
I read some of them. I didn't read the 80-year-old me thing.
Well,
Yeah,
some of the
80-year-old
stuff
me.
he was
Yeah,
saying back to the
yeah. So
reporter,
yeah,
he
80-year-old
was
me.
like,
He's a savage for that. But then,
he was
yeah,
like, "All I know is when I walked up on you, your effing body temperature was cold as ice. Your effing balls had shriveled up."
Wait, who said that?
I didn't see that. Ken Law.
Javon Kinlaw.
Well, at first he called him a bitch ass N word is what it says right here, and then it just he hopped on his live stream too apparently while he was eating. Like he's like eating. He's like, you think you're representing the 49ers? Well, right now the food coming out of his mouth, like it's just
If you were like,
Yeah, this says the size of Khan's or
voice lighter
Kennard's,
than my
whatever.
effing baby, fam.
Yeah. Yikes.
Oh man.
well, I'm sure this isn't over, so we can look forward to seeing these two go at it.
If
throughout the
anything,
season.
yeah, if anything to me, it's entertaining. But maybe they planned it.
I was gonna
'Cause
say the 49ers.
I didn't know about this guy or the player that much.
Or maybe the
But like, how do you
49ers are
join his
like,
live stream? I don't
we need to distract from the Jimmy G thing. Let's start this rivalry.
That could be.
Mirage.
I'll give you $1,000 every practice if you go up to this player and give him a hard time.
Jesus. Yeah, so this dude's having a live stream, but don't you have to accept somebody into your live stream, or you can just join in on people's live streams?
It depends on the live. If it's a public live stream, anyone can hop on it.
Oh man, he set himself up for that. I mean, he doesn't seem like an old guy either. So the reporter, I mean,
I don't know. Some people love this kind of conflict, so maybe the reporters.
I mean,
like,
banter's
loving
always
it.
nice, but like it's also a big distraction at the end
Yeah.
of the day too.
That was funny. All right, enough of Kinlaw and the 49ers. We're actually going to come back to them later. So, of all people, Colin Kaepernick had a workout with the Raiders. By all reports, it went fairly well. If you follow him at all on social media and whatnot, he looks like he's still in solid shape. And he was in amazing shape when he was playing. So, athletically, the ability is probably still there. I'm sure he still does football workouts to keep his arm good. But I mean, what do you guys think? Is this a big deal, little deal? Do you think anyone will even bother bringing them in to compete, or was this basically just like a publicity stunt?
I have no idea what the Raiders or Josh McDaniels would get out of it if it was a publicity stunt. from a football perspective and nothing else, he hasn't played since 2016. Like, how many players or positions, especially quarterback, can come back from that long of an absence in and he's always 34, almost 35. I mean, if he's really that impressive and you want to have him as a bench player, sure. And whether it's fair or not, that's just going to cause distractions for your team at this point, whether it's Colin Kaepernick's fault or not. Probably most people would say not, but I wouldn't want the Eagles to pick him up, even if he was playing well. He's not going to start. I don't think he should start. Um, it's just another thing in the news to talk about. I mean, we can get into the details from the whole situation about. I mean, everyone knows what happened and why he's not in the league anymore, and a lot of people would say he got
Ousted.
by the owners, but I don't know. From a football standpoint, he's just been out for so long. If someone who wants to give him a chance to come back in the league and we can just hush the Kaepernick stuff once and for all, I'm all for it. But just let it be done.
Yeah, I think it's a little too late. Like you said, he hasn't played in 2016 since 2016. I don't think it was necessarily a publicity stunt by the Raiders. Maybe they thought, give him a shot because they need a solid back. They lost, their backup Mariota to the Falcons, and but it's just too late. The damage has been done. It's kind of beating a dead horse at this point. Not that he doesn't deserve. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve an opportunity or whatever, but it could have happened a couple years ago, and they kind of blew that too. So,
And let me ask a question to you guys. Do you think it's maybe not a Raiders thing, but maybe a Josh McDaniels thing,
but you know how I feel about him.
his
So.
arrogance to him, like he can, yeah. But it could be like I can make my offense work with anybody, especially Colin Kaepernick. But I mean, obviously he's committed to Derek Carr, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, Derek Carr has had the injury issues, but not recently. He's been playing well, so I don't know. Just maybe looking for a solid backup. But as of right
Yeah.
now, there's no deal in place, and it could come down to who gets hurt in the season. Maybe if that many quarterbacks go down, you can see him come back in emergency. But I don't know.
All the quarterbacks were at a meeting and there was a collapse and they've all been injured.
Floor just falls
I will
out.
say this about his playing: if a team does want to give him a chance, I don't care if it's a bad team or a good team, let him play a full preseason game and just see what he has.
Yeah, the whole
Because
game.
you'll be able to tell, if even if it's against the players or in the fourth quarter players who aren't or are fighting for a spot on the team, which he should be. If he can't play well against them, then there's your answer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Here's my 2 or 3 cents on it. We've already said he hasn't played for 6 years. No player takes 6 years off and then comes back into the league.
So happened to Marcus Russell.
If you want a dynamic veteran quarterback, RG3 is going to get signed way before Kaepernick ever gets a chance.
For sure.
I mean, he supposedly
agreed.
He just ran what did he run, a 4.5 or 4.4,
something crazy.
Yeah, that's a comment. Yeah,
and I know he has his he's more of a talk show analyst guy now. He's probably getting paid.
I think he's doing pretty good with it too.
Yeah, no, I like him. But if that's what you're looking for, if I was an owner or a GM, I would bring in RG3 way before Kaepernick. Also with Kaepernick, everyone will say that, well, not everyone, but a lot of people say he got blackballed by the league, but he had a situation. It was reported that the league basically gave him money to, just end it. He took the money. If I'm an owner and I just paid you to basically walk away from the league, I'm not going to bring you back. And I know Kaepernick multiple times has been he just wants a chance. He just wants to play. Other leagues other than the NFL have offered to bring him in, and he ends up. Oh, this is just reported, so I'm not saying he said it. The report is that he ends up asking for some huge contract, and then the league is just no way, and he doesn't play. So he could have
benefited him by playing.
He could have gone to the CFL or another league and shown that he still has it, and then the NFL probably would have brought him back because teams want to win over anything else. But I don't think there's a single chance that he comes back.
Yeah, definitely leaning
Too
that
little,
way.
too late
Yep,
from him and the NFL.
Yeah.
both parties.
And it's not like Vic where Andy Reid, was like the only one that was going to bring him back. Like, I think that wasn't 6 years. That was 3 years, right?
And then Vic still found himself as a backup with Pittsburgh because he earned his rep back.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I do think
Vic was way better than Colin Kaepernick ever was, too.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, I think in my opinion it was
And younger when he came back,
it was
like 29.
basically a stunt of some sort. Like otherwise I don't get it.
Yeah.
There it
Take him out of
lies.
Madden, too.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be in Madden anymore.
At least
Yeah.
don't make him an 84 or whatever he is.
I think he's like a 75.
And then with Madden, they just use him as trade bait, and everybody, all the computers get first round picks for him and Henry Ruggs, even though they shouldn't be in the game anymore. But I digress.
We can do a Madden episode another time. So transitioning back to the 49ers, but still talking about quarterbacks. Jimmy G, Baker Mayfield. Every day I read reports about are they going to get traded? Where should they go? What do you guys think? What's their value? Where could they fit? They're NFL quarterbacks. Like it's not like these guys are just going to vanish from the league. So what do you guys think?
So I think Baker is in my opinion, the better of the two. The one I would trade for if I had to pick one. But the Browns have to lower his value. They're not going to get a first round pick like they're asking. We talked about the Panthers. I think we've been saying it for a while. I think it'd be a good move for him. Good move for them. They don't really have much. They have Darnold.
Yeah.
So, and plus I think he did kind of get the wrong end of the stick there in Cleveland. He didn't. He isn't. He has his personality. He's a pretty big personality, but he was hurt all year. He's out there fighting every game. He also part of his mentality is he's going to work hard, and they kind of just said, oh hey Deshaun Watson, you want to come just replace him after all that. So I think he deserves. I think they both deserve a shot. But Jimmy G on the other hand has had plenty of opportunities to win a Super Bowl and just can't seem to find that clutch. Find that rhythm at the end like he needs to. And at this point in his career, I wouldn't give up a lot for him.
Yeah. Well, did you see the story that the Panthers apparently offered a trade for Baker Mayfield, but they wanted the Browns to eat like 80% of his salary?
Because he has a pretty big contract. Not as big as Deshaun Watson, but he had,
fifth year option.
That's
Like
tough. They don't have
million.
the money. The Browns don't have the money to eat it like that. Just is
Yeah.
what it is. They've had a pretty busy free agency, and then we just talk about Njoku here in a little bit, but they just signed him too. That's another
Spoilers.
Still money on the cap. He was franchise tagged at that at first.
Sasquatch, what do you think?
From a football standpoint, well, this is a football standpoint, anyways, but kind of what RJ said, I would tend to, especially healthy, with no distractions, lean towards a Baker Mayfield. I haven't been a huge Baker Mayfield fan, but it's also because I just don't like the Browns. I don't know why. Should have no problem with them. I just don't like them.
Yeah, you've said that.
They're ugly.
You said that before.
And they're nasty. I don't know.
Yeah, you have your opinion.
I just don't like watching them on the TV.
On the doo-doo Browns. I mean the Browns.
Yeah. Jimmy Garoppolo is, to me, he was seen as one of the better game managing quarterbacks in the NFL. At least that's what people thought he was. And with a good team, he can get your team to the Super Bowl. And he did that with the 49ers and almost did it last year. But he was the reason why they didn't make the Super Bowl, I think you could argue. And he may have been the reason why they didn't win the Super Bowl. What'd they score in that game? 6 points
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it was, 3 points.
Barely get the ball out.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it was bad.
Yeah. Either way. And he's 30. But he hasn't escaped injuries throughout his career. I mean, he played 15 games last year. The year before that, he played 6. The year before that, he played 16.
Mhm.
But his first 2 years with San Francisco, he didn't play more than 6 games.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would say he'd be one of the best backups in the NFL, if not the best. Or if you're like the best roster in the NFL and you have no options at quarterback, I would take Jimmy Garoppolo. But I think Baker Mayfield healthy, he has a better arm. He's more athletic, I would say, probably, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
You can throw in the run. You can make
Like
those
RJ
athletic
said,
plays.
he's got the will to win, even though he hasn't won really. He does have that chutzpah to him. He's got that sassy attitude. But I mean, sometimes you want that on your team. And like you said, a team like the Panthers, they're they've got a decent roster, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
They
Mhm.
probably could potentially have been a playoff team with a better quarterback play than Sam Darnold.
And they started out pretty good
Um,
too.
yeah, Christian McCaffrey healthy. They have DJ Moore. I think
Robbie
their offensive lines,
Anderson.
yeah,
Mhm.
their defense offensive lines decent from what I can remember,
Defense is
and their
good.
defense is yeah. So I mean, I think if you plug Baker Mayfield in there, they could have a shot at the playoffs if he's healthy. But then back to the contract situation. I mean, that's an issue for the teams to figure out. I'm not their money managers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't forget Baker also got the Browns their first to the playoffs in years. I can't remember the exact years, like 20 plus years, whatever it was, and got a win in the playoffs for the first time. I mean, the Browns quarterback graveyard is huge for if 18 quarterbacks in the last 10 years, whatever it was. That's 15 years. Baker
Yeah.
was the one guy
Yeah.
that actually gave you guys some progress and moved forward, and you just did them dirty.
What year was that?
When they won the playoffs, it was last year.
2020.
Yeah,
2020.
it wasn't last season, but the season before.
Yeah. I think between the two, Baker definitely has the most value. He's younger. He has this 1 year deal, so you can sign him to a new deal, and depending on how he plays, you don't have to break the bank. So if you look at teams that I envision could potentially end up wanting a new quarterback, Seattle, Carolina, but then potentially the Giants. The Giants roster is not bad. It's just if Daniel Jones is just awful, and to an extreme with the Dolphins. What if they start the season and Tua is just complete garbage? You could say, well, they just want to wait till next year, but with the money they're spending on that team, I mean, I would make the case that they're trying to win now. I think Jimmy G's best scenario, honestly, is that the Niners just cut him. So then he can get brought in as a backup somewhere. Because with his salary now, I really don't see anyone trading for him. The Colts are probably his best chance. And then they got Matt Ryan, which shut that door. I think Baker for a second round pick. I think Baker for a second round pick is not crazy.
Even with the contract.
Well, it's just 1 year, so you'd sign him
How much
to
is it?
like 20 million. But if you're a bad team, like you can take that.
That's true.
Give up if you're a GM and you have no quarterback, I think you would give up a second and pay $20 million, whatever it is, to have a young quarterback who has shown glimpses of his talent to have a 1 year tryout. And then if he sucks, you still have your high first round pick, and then you don't have to pay him. You can get rid of him and move on with your life. It's better than bringing in Kaepernick.
Yeah. You mentioned Seattle. I don't know how I'd feel about that fit.
Just gunning it down to DK and lock it.
Yeah, but I mean, the situation with DK apparently, I don't know if how resolved that is. And then you got Baker and DK Metcalf who have their tendencies to be
Maybe Baker could
emotional.
rein him in, put him in his place. I said
You
hot
think rein
route.
him hot route.
Get set.
Um, but their offensive line still isn't fixed, right?
Yeah, but Baker can still move. He can still run
So can
those.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that was a lot of
Russell
his
Wilson got
struggles.
sacked most times. He's been sacked more than anybody
Yeah, but
since he's been in
Russell
the league. Baker
Wilson.
Mayfield's going to break both shoulders.
No,
If you
but
had to pick one
if
of
you
the two
tell
to go to Seattle,
Baker,
I'd pick Baker
if you
because
tell
I still see Jimmy
Baker
G.
roll out, run that zone, that
He's really
like
good off play
zone run
action.
game, and then play action, throw bombs, like it'll work or it won't. And if it doesn't work, you gave up a second round pick, and that's it.
Honestly, I think Jimmy G's might be
It's a
about
lot.
effed.
I don't think second round picks are really that valuable. But yeah,
LaShawn McCoy.
okay, I'm not saying you can do it for any
Can't think of
round.
anybody
We
else.
can go to any round to throw out these great names, but I'm just saying like second round picks, like when it comes to a trade for potentially a franchise quarterback, like
I don't think he's potentially a franchise quarterback at this point. I think he could help your team get to the playoffs.
would you say
But he obviously needs to be in a good situation. Like,
I would say his worth is higher than a Matt Ryan or a Carson Wentz.
I would say we traded
I would
2 seconds and
as
a
a
third, technically,
if
with
I was a
Wentz. So
Colts fan, Taylor, if you're a Titans fan, who would you be more worried about playing against, Baker Mayfield or Matt Ryan with the Colts constructed as is?
I'd be more
probably
about
Baker
Baker
Mayfield.
Mayfield.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Well, we'll see.
I think Matt Ryan knows how to make the
Well,
right decisions, especially with the offensive line, and Jonathan Taylor. Whatever. Either way, we'll
yeah.
see what
I think if
happens.
Baker
You've
Mayfield
been
gets
high on that move,
traded,
though, all offseason.
I think if
Yes.
Baker gets traded, especially mainly if it's a decent team, if he gets traded to be a starter, I think Baker throws more touchdowns than Matt Ryan this year.
I don't think Matt Ryan's going to have like an MVP caliber year, but I think they're going to be.
It's going to be a little bit better
He's
than
not.
Philip Rivers
I
when he
think
went
he's
there.
going to
Just
win them
playoffs.
more games than he would lose them games.
Wentz threw almost
But I do like
30
Baker
touchdowns and
Mayfield.
they missed the playoffs.
We all
Huh?
know what happened there at the end of the season.
Yeah, but yeah. That was an all-time choke performance.
Plus,
Yeah,
we
but
talked
I'm
about
just
that. They were
saying
relying on Jonathan Taylor all year.
your
And they
quarterback
just say,
gives
oh,
you
now Wentz got to
30
do the magic there.
touchdowns and you have the best running back in the league and you
But
don't make the
Carson Wentz,
playoffs.
no, not saying this is going to happen because I think it's a good move for Washington to get him. But Carson Wentz, going back to the Eagles days, his stats can sometimes be misleading. And now that he's off our team, I can be subjective about it because
I
he
do agree.
constantly throws 25 to 30 touchdowns with less than 10 interceptions. You look at his stats, you're like, oh wow, that's pretty good stuff. But he fumbles the ball all the time, and he just what's going on? I don't know what happened. I don't know. But
No,
either way,
exactly, especially at home.
I'm not a Carson Wentz hater. I think he's going to do good with the Washington Commanders.
Well, we won't know
But
until we see, but yeah, no, you're making good points. The fall with the
yeah,
Colts definitely didn't help his, mentality game when it comes to how people
yeah.
view him. But in general, I think Matt Ryan, I swear to God, he's going to have, he can easily get him to the playoffs. He's going to have a very similar season. He can throw the ball better than Philip Rivers could at this point in his career. But it's like the same thing, in my opinion, almost. Bringing in a veteran guy that knows knows what he's doing, then get the job done. But he's not in his prime anymore, obviously. Baker, on the other hand, is probably right in the middle of his prime, if not, verging into it.
I would say for Baker Mayfield, I'm not trying to sound like a Baker Mayfield hater, but I think he would. You mentioned Miami. I mean, I don't know if there's been any rumors about him going to Miami.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if after 4 weeks Tua is just complete trash,
I would like.
Possible.
I would think that would be a decent fit. I mean, Baker Mayfield has an arm; he can chuck it down to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and
definitely throw farther than
they're
Tua.
not. Yeah, they have a decent roster, and I also like the Panthers. I mean, I could see him in a Panthers uniform. Not that that matters, but I think he could. I think he could get both teams to the playoffs, but
I will
I'll end
say,
it
I
there.
think, not to stay on this topic too long, I think the thing that's in the way with the Panthers is they just pulled this exact move last year, trade for Sam Darnold, and it was just an utter disaster. So if you're like that GM or coach, it's like if you do this again and then it fails again, you're done. Like there's no coming back.
Yeah, I mean that's a little different. Sam Darnold didn't show anything with the Jets. I think they were more like maybe it was a Jets issue, but obviously it wasn't. Maybe the Jets they shot his confidence, but like RJ was saying about Baker going to the playoffs, I kind of forgot they beat the Steelers 48-37. He had 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 61 completion
The Chiefs
percentage,
game
and
was a good
then
game too.
they narrowly lost to the Chiefs by 5 points. He had a touchdown and an interception,
Would have had two,
but
but the refs missed the penalty when his receiver
yeah,
dove for the end zone. He got slammed right in the face.
Oof,
yeah.
it does
I mean,
happen.
I would if I was the Panthers, I would trade Sam Darnold
Who's
and a second or third.
who? I wouldn't even want Sam Darnold. So you can keep that.
I mean, you need a backup,
Yeah,
Not Sam Darnold.
he showed
especially with
signs of
Deshaun Watson.
athleticism and stuff, but he does not have I don't know. He does not have the stuff. I feel like Sam Darnold to make it as a starter as of right now, at least.
Yeah.
The Browns should be preparing for some kind of
Deshaun
like
Watson thing, yeah,
yeah, like
repercussions.
to have somebody like
Okay.
who's their backup. Baker Mayfield's not playing for them.
Super.
Like if I was Baker Mayfield, I'd be like,
super,
oh well.
super devil's advocate, right? This will never happen, but let's say it does. Deshaun Watson gets suspended for 8 games, and there's no appeal. It's 8 games. Baker Mayfield, basically it comes out no one wants him, no one will trade for him, no one wants to touch him. So he does play for the Browns, and he lights it up and is like the first half MVP. If you're the Browns, what do you do? Like the Browns are 7-1. Baker's putting the whole team on his back, putting up insane numbers. Do you like that would be
I
I
don't
would love
know.
that scenario. That would like be like dream come true for me.
Yeah, that would be funny. I don't know if I was Baker May. I don't know how it works with like fines and stuff like that. But like if Baker Mayfield just, I mean, he could be like, my back hurts, and he's like, I'm just not ready to go. That's what I would do if I was him. I would torch it and then just be like, I'm done. Trade me.
Well, we can only hope for a storyline like that to play out.
Drama.
I'm copywriting the movie deal now if it happens. Trademark. All right. On to the Pro Bowl. The beautiful disaster that's been the last 10 years. So everyone knows the viewership's down. I don't even know the last time I've watched the Pro Bowl. I don't even as a fan, like not even watching it, but as an accolade, I don't even respect the Pro Bowl anymore
I like the skill
because
challenges more.
yeah, I skill challenge anymore. But like when people get voted to the Pro Bowl, it's just like I don't even care because it's a popularity contest. The players on the popular teams always get more like all the votes, and then half the time players end up saying they don't want to go. They still get counted as being voted to the Pro Bowl, and the league just bumps up the next guy, and then he gets counted as being a Pro Bowler too. And like
Mm-hmm.
you can pull out guys that have been okay. Um, what's his name? Pouncey on the Steelers.
Center.
Yeah, I'm not saying he was bad. He was a very good center. He went to like I could be completely wrong, but I think I'm right. He went to something like 6 straight Pro Bowls as a starting center.
Yeah, him and his brother just had the name though. I think that's what helped with
Yeah,
that. Coming out of Florida, that whole storyline.
and then like the Titans, a lot of the Titans, it's happened so many times. They'll have a player be first team All Pro, but not make the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, but that's on the fans more than anything, right? All the votes, the mass
It-
populations who only see headlines.
but then, but the Pro Bowl still counts towards like your like Hall of Fame
Accolades.
resume and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
for that reason alone, I'm fine with the Pro Bowl being gone.
yeah.
Ditch the Pro
It's just not
Bowl,
entertaining.
ditch
At the
the
end of
Pro
the day,
Bowl,
it is
and
what it
then
is.
do skills competition.
Skills
Has there
competitions
been
are cool.
any
Dodgeball games are better than that.
Has there been any realistic conversations about it, or is this speculation?
No, the leagues
They're
apparently having meetings
yeah,
about
they're
it.
talking about it.
Okay.
Maybe make it have more meaning
So
than it,
us three guys have a lot of input with the league. What would be your solution, or what would be your solution to keep the Pro Bowl? Like I'm trying to think in my head. They have to get some kind of revenue from it, and these guys think with
I have an
the money
idea.
flowing in their eyes.
I have an idea.
But what?
Uh, you do Pro Bowl. You have to tweak it a little bit, but you do the Pro Bowl
When?
voting. Do it after the season. This middle of the season, not middle, but this right before Super Bowl crap. It's for me that was the turning point when I kind of stopped watching the Pro Bowl because the Super Bowl team is going to be the best team in the league, and you're basically saying we don't want those players. That's stupid.
Yeah.
So, and then that adds to my point. They get voted to the Pro Bowl. They go to the Super Bowl. They still get counted as being a Pro Bowl player, but then you bump up someone else up to the list. Like it waters it down. But
Hmm.
you
So
do
you mostly just think it should be after the season.
well. That's one thing. But
Like
you
after
do
the Super
this.
Bowl, after everything.
You do this. You do your Pro Bowl rosters, right? And then you take the quarterbacks and you make them team captains. We'll
Like they do in the
say,
NBA.
yeah. But for like all of them are a team captain, and you do a draft for a 7v7 flag football tournament.
After the season?
Yeah, so it's like an 8-team flag football 7-on-7 tournament.
I mean, because they're not going to hit each other that hard anyway. At the end of the day, they're trying, not trying to kill each other during the Pro Bowl.
It's flag football.
So flag
And
football wouldn't be a
like
big step down. Is what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
it
just
wouldn't
like
be
in
a
the
big
Pro
drop
Bowl,
off.
just like in the Pro Bowl now, you can jump up and come down and pop something, but like that's about it.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. If I feel like maybe it's just me, but I mean, if you're a fan of the NFL, you're probably a fan of other sports, and maybe you are just a fan of football. But once the Super Bowl's over, you're kind of on to the next thing if you have other teams you like, or I don't know. I wish they could figure out a way to make the Pro Bowl have some kind of stakes, whether
Yeah.
it is season related or just something else. Like the NBA was struggling with the All Star game and that whole charity thing and the way they changed it to it's not a time thing. It's like first one to the score, like a backyard back or street ball, whatever. It made it competitive for the last few years, especially at the end.
Hmm.
And players start playing defense, and the refs kind of got into it too. Started calling whistles and stuff, um, blowing their whistle. It's just hard to do. I can't. I was trying to think of a way that it could
Hmm.
be
Same.
plausible for the NFL because no player is going to want to have, like, let's say they cut the season back down to 14 or 15 games or 16 games, whatever. Well, no, what they just do? They just increased the season, so they're not going to cut it back down.
Yeah. No way. 18 weeks now, 17 games.
But yeah, and no player is going to be like, yeah, I'll play a Pro Bowl in the middle of the season. Like you could be like the winner, like the MLB. Does the
Obviously,
MLB
yeah.
even do that anymore?
Home
Yeah,
field
where
advantage in the
home
World
field advantage,
Series.
stupid.
Yeah, but at least there's
I don't
meaning
know.
to it.
Here's my full idea. You do a Pro Bowl like week, right? And it better be in Hawaii because like players don't want to go down to Florida or whatever. Or the NFL can buy an island, right? Like
They really could.
buy an island, build an airport for fans to fly to. Like they're not gonna do that because that's a ton of money and logistics. But you
Yeah.
have Hawaii or there's other islands that you can go to that do have airports and whatnot, or like Cancun. I don't know. And
Something exotic.
you do like I said, like a flag football
Canada.
tournament or something. But then you can still do things, right? You have kickers do like these like kick off things. You do the quarterback drills. Who can throw the ball farthest? Who can hit this farthest target? You can have running backs running these obstacle courses. You can
And they
have
bring back the old school ways of like when back in the Favre
you
and
can
those
have
days,
like the receivers
those
and the
games.
DBs running a relay race. You can just be like in what's it sports science with the linebackers and defensive tackles and set up a dummy and be like who can generate the most force on a tackle on the dummy. Like you could do and
Or
like
the
I would
catch
watch
radius
that.
stuff.
I would love watching that, but I don't
Okay,
know.
I think if they do that, they would, in my opinion, I don't know. I feel like they need to do it before the Super Bowl, but like not like right before the Super Bowl like they do it now. Like I don't know.
I'm not I'm not I'm not I'm not
I
doing
haven't watched
it.
the Pro Bowl in years,
I mean, I
and
like
I
the
have no interest
7v7
in it.
idea.
But here's
It's
the
all players
thing.
combined. Like,
But here's
you
the
pick from any
thing.
team.
No player in the middle of the season grind unless you literally give them like the whole league like a 2 week bye.
That's what I'm saying.
But
I can't think of anything.
even then, no player is gonna be like, I'm gonna go to this for fun event and risk.
Risk getting hurt.
getting hurt
No way.
in the middle of a
That's what I'm
potential
saying.
playoff
It's just
push.
the NFL. I don't think I'll ever be interested in anything they do.
When it comes to like all stars or Pro
Football
Bowls
is
or
such a violent, competitive sport. Like,
it
I
is.
guess you're right. I mean, the only thing I can think of that could make it interesting if you do those kind of things, do like the Trevor Wright challenge, like we used to do, and like, have the star quarterbacks of the league throw one on one. Have like, that'd be pretty cool. You have Aaron Rodgers as quarterback, and then you have
Stephon Diggs versus
Stephon Diggs versus
Jalen
Jalen
Ramsey, and
Ramsey.
yeah, bam.
Yeah, and it's one on one, and like you do like kind of stuff like that, and you have a point system. So I guess that really is the only realistic thing you can do to make it
Yeah,
interesting, like
I
you were
like
saying,
that you
Taylor.
said taking the top quarterbacks and they can have like whatever their four teams, or how many quarterbacks it is. 'Cause you have your starters and backups, and then they go like the 7v7 type thing too. If they can pick and choose from whatever conference and whatever, any players can be combined to make this cool 7-on-7 team. You know, that'd be cool. It's also a multi-day event, so they could have the tournament over both days while doing the other stuff. Start on Saturday
Yeah,
and keep going.
Hmm.
just you would think the league with all their millionaires making come up with these ideas and paying firms to create something, you think they could do something like that, but
Yeah.
I guarantee they'll botch it like everything else.
Yeah, and I mean, if they're not going to do anything cool, they might as well just get rid of it, like we said earlier. Cut it.
Yeah, but
Yeah, and stop making like, and also like I've talked myself into liking that idea, and then get rid of the Pro Bowl being any kind of like accolade.
Yeah,
yeah, I
for
don't
like you
think
Like
said,
it's
for your
just
Hall of Fame
like
resume.
let the player, like, sure, let the fans vote for it, who they want to see there. That's cool, but like take it off the resumes.
Yeah, it shouldn't be held for a standard from where coming from a bunch of biased fans most of the time.
And most of us, like, I mean, us and like, people who really like love and analyze the sport, pay attention more to like all pros and stuff.
Yeah, like all pros are, but really that's what matters on a Hall of Fame resume. All pros, Super Bowls, full seasons,
that's what
stats, everything.
honestly for me when it comes to like looking at a player's career, I've just switched to just doing like the eye test, like because like the more you look at all these accolades, and even if you look at numbers, sometimes like you can manipulate that to
Yeah,
tell whatever
you
story
can't
you
look at just
want.
one or the other, right? You got to look at all at a broad perspective.
Well, that's how like it, you can put up stats and be a very good player, but I think for a Hall of Famer, like you can look at them and be like, okay, you're a Hall of Famer. But yeah, all right. So yeah, who knows what will happen in the Pro Bowl? If they get rid of it, I don't think we'll really care.
Exactly.
Um, last topic of the day. One big signing went down. David Njoku signed
Hmm.
a 4-year, $56.7 million deal with the Browns. To put in
After being
perspective,
franchise tagged.
yeah, so they franchise tagged him, negotiated, came up with a deal. Just to put in perspective, he's 25 years old. He's been in the league 5 years. He's a solid sized tight end that has athletic ability, but when he's played pretty much 16 games in a season, he averages roughly 400 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. And
The
they
wide
just gave
tight
him,
end number 2.
and then they just gave him 14 million a year. What do
So
you think?
yeah, definitely. I think they're kind of, I don't know, wasted. I guess they like him a lot. I don't know. They're paying a pretty high price for somebody that produces like that. And then I know he's had injury problems too. I mean, I think coming out and like when we all saw him 5 years ago, we're like, damn, this guy's he's a beast. He looks like a beast, but he just hasn't done it. He hasn't really been that guy. He should be a dominant tight end in the league with his body size, athleticism, and all that. And he's just not. I mean, in Madden, he's
Yeah, I
great.
mean,
I love him in Madden, but
Yeah,
that's
because
a
yeah.
completely different story.
if you look at his first year, he started only 5 games, but he had 32 good catches for almost 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's good rookie year. And then his second year, he's played in every game. He started 14. He had almost 60 catches, almost 650 yards, and 4 touchdowns again. Then he had the injury year in 2019, and then he had 200 yards playing only starting 5 games. And then 2021, he had 36 catches for almost 500 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Maybe have a
So, I
breakout
mean,
season. I mean, he's been pretty
yeah.
consistent to say the least, but not consistently very good.
Yeah, what does that contract rank as far as NFL tight ends go?
Well, I don't know the
Top
rank.
10 at least?
It's like top 5.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So for perspective, right? He got 4 years, 56 million, 14 a year. Basically, a year ago, Mark Andrews, who's I think in my opinion undisputed top 3 tight end,
Mhm.
signed the same deal, basically same exact deal.
That's Mark Andrews, though. He's out here snagging one-handed touchdowns every other day.
I think 2 years ago, or whenever it was, 2 years ago or last year, George Kittle signed 5 years, 75 million. But that's only one more million. That's 15 million a year. So it's 1 million difference a year, and that's George Kittle, who again is when healthy, I think maybe the number 1 tight end in the league with everything he does.
With the
And then
blocking, yeah. But, I mean,
and
that's
What
when
then
was
you just can't stay
Njoku's
healthy.
contract again?
4 years, 56 million.
Okay.
And then just another example, Jonnu Smith, who I think is a more comparable player, signed a 4-year, $50 million deal.
With the Patriots last year.
Yeah.
Another one, Dallas Goedert's was 4 years, 57 million,
He's
and
put up way better
he was
numbers.
playing second fiddle to Zach Ertz, and he's putting up better numbers
Yeah.
Yeah.
than
I would take Goddard
him.
all
And
day
then
over Njoku.
yeah, and I think Goddard's kind of underrated.
Mhm.
And
I think
last year
top
he
5
had
tight end.
850 yards
For
Yeah,
me,
I think his
Goddard's
name
on
top
got
a
5
more.
tight
15
end.
yard per catch average.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a fantasy guy, you know who Goddard is,
Unless he
especially after
screws
last
you in the
year.
playoffs because
Yeah,
Hurts can't see him wide open in the back of the end zone.
that's how it goes sometimes. Never forget Alshon Jeffries, the biggest dump ever. Don't care what anybody says.
I just think this does show a little bit of the Browns are going to be the Browns.
Yeah, no, 100%. It wasn't a smart move. That's for sure. You have
This
all
is
this
what I
money
wanted
going
to.
everywhere. You're just spending everything on players
I
that.
wanted to say this. Do you think this could have anything to do with? Do you think there's any way that Deshaun Watson already has footing on the team and is like, yeah, I want him back?
There's a chance, but I don't know. I don't know how the Browns are with that kind of thing.
I
I
think they
know
could have
that
had him. I
they,
think they could have brought him back for less money.
yeah, because didn't they just sign Austin Hooper to a big deal like a couple years ago?
Yeah.
They're just throwing all this money at tight end for players that aren't top 10.
Austin Hooper.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's,
I think Austin Hooper's put up better numbers the last 4 years, and he signed a 1-year, maybe $12 million deal with the Titans.
Yeah, but he is a little older now.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's not too old. I would say. Austin Hooper,
So
was he like 29, 30? If that.
I think it's 30.
Yeah.
So I was trying to look at this in a positive. I'm pretty sure Stefanski's, I think he is from like the Shanahan Kubiak school of offense. And if you look in those offenses, they do feature usually a athletic field stretching tight end. Um, you can look at Jordan Reed,
What was it? The
Owen
dude with the
Daniels.
Texans? Yeah.
The Vikings even have used a combination of Kyle Rudolph and Irv
Kyle Rudolph.
Smith.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, maybe they're going to feature him, and he's going to put up some numbers. But he's been in the league 5 years, and he's 3 years removed from a okay year.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the
yeah.
head.
So last year, you know what I noticed game logs were?
He had the one game where he popped off, and that was it.
He had 150 yards at
Yeah.
week 5. Week 1, he had 76. Other than that, he didn't get over 40 yards.
That week
A bunch
5,
of games where he had under 20 and then a few over 30.
who did he play in that week 5 game? Was it Baltimore?
The Chargers.
Chargers. And that's the game where
42 to 47.
and I'm pretty, what was his, does it say his long for that game? In the splits or whatever? I'm pretty sure he had like 2 50-yard catches in that game.
Which shows what he could do if he's playing at the top of his game all the time. But also the
71 yard touchdown.
Yeah. And that's like a third of his receiving yards than last year in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you got to break it down.
Yeah, I don't even hate the player.
Just the
He's been in
money.
the league 5 years. I don't think he's gonna blow up and all of a sudden get like 800 yards
Yeah.
and like 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say. I mean, you look at other you already named a bunch of tight ends who are making similar money, and they're all better than him. We would say. I mean, I'm never gonna say these players don't deserve to get money. I mean, they're putting their bodies on the line, but
we're
it's a
talking
business
about the
too.
market though, right? Just because like you're trying to set a standard for what you're paying players, and now you have teams like doing this, and then the Jacksonville with Christian Kirk, and they're just blowing it up, doing dumb stuff. Like obviously these guys, they've earned their right to be out there and their money, but us when we're worried about our teams trying to sign people, now it's like, well, we're screwed now because we want to go ahead and blow up their heads.
This is true.
That's the only reason why I don't. I'll talk shit about like how Dak doesn't deserve it, to make all this money. But I mean, obviously he's doing his damn thing. I hate him, but he goes out there, puts up the numbers every year. Separate topic.
Do you think his like agent or something was like I wonder how that went for players like that who you don't expect to get that much money. Do you think the teams like they go into like the meeting or whatever and like this is what we think we can give you, and then the agent's just like that meme, and they're
Signs it real quick.
Sign it right away. What's in Moneyball? They made a deal, and then he hangs up the phone. He was like, "Did you just hang up on him?" He's like, "Once you get what you're asking for, I can't remember what he said.
It's like once you hear that the answer you're looking. Yeah, I can't remember either.
Yeah, but that's probably how it goes.
I'll watch that again. It's a good movie.
The Browns. What do you think about 4 years, $56.7 million? Yes.
Yeah. So maybe these agents are just doing a really good job of what they do.
Possible.
If any of us, when we were playing back to Madden, if we're doing our little online franchises, all three of us, and any of us pulled off this deal in Madden, the other two would clown them so bad.
Oh, exactly. No, 100%. It'd be full blast. The Amendola. That kind of laughter. Never let it go. I'm still not over me trading for who I traded for from you, Sass? It was like 2 choices ago. I traded for a quarterback. No, it was Stafford. Yeah, I traded for Stafford.
The fleece.
Thinking it would be a good move. Just pooped on it.
Oh! When I had the
Lions, all my money was just gone because I already had.
Didn't I get somebody really good with that?
I traded the one linebacker.
A first, wasn't it? Like a first and
you gave me. I think you gave me one of your firsts or something, and I ended up drafting a good player or something. Like that. Maybe it was a linebacker.
I traded. What's his name? I'm having a brain fart. Number 45.
Deion Jones.
Deion Jones, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He had a few more good years with me.
Yeah, I mean, Stafford did good that first year we simmed, but I actually played with him the next season, though. It was just poop dollar. Even though in real life, he went and won a Super Bowl the next year.
Yeah, that was funny. That's good times.
Yeah, well, I think that does it for the show. This is No Interference. Hope you know that by now. We are your hosts, Westside, Big Sass, and the Bull. Thank you to all of our listeners and subscribers. We appreciate everyone taking the time to watch this. If you're new to the show, like, subscribe, share. Hot topic of the week if we want to try and get some comments going. Do you watch the Pro Bowl? That's it. We want to see who actually does. But that does it for this week. We will see you next week. Adios. See you later.
Peace.